Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. Yeah.
What'd you say, Rod? You like my shirt?
Herb, how are you doing on this beautiful Tuesday evening?
I feel like even though my team wasn't in it, I feel like a winner still for other reasons. Raj.
Yes, for those who don't know, over the past 2 or 3 weeks, or whatever, Herb has won our fantasy football league. I won in 2021. It was such a glorious day when I won. Actually, a glorious 3 or 4 years afterwards after I won. Herb won. Let's move on.
He won like 3 years ago, and he still likes to gasconade about his win.
That was what I was supposed to say. Oh my gosh. No, how could you do that? Anyway.
Let me check my text messages.
Yes.
Was it?
Yes. Shout out to everybody in the chat already. Big Mike, we appreciate you for joining us. And yes, we're going to jump into this. Shout out to Big Mike. Of course, kudos to the Ohio State Buckeyes, obviously, for their victory last night. The Alpha Pool's in the building. Good evening, ladies. We appreciate y'all for joining us. Cats in Louisiana. Heard Louisiana got some snow. Saw some pictures on Twitter too. So I saw pictures of people having snowball fights in Bourbon Street. That's a pretty cool. Pretty cool way.
Like, do you pack it with whiskey though before you throw it, or do you just?
I don't even know. That would just be a cool thing to do though. Carol, thank you for joining us. I gotta disagree. Yeah. I don't think it was boring. It got to a point to where it got out of hand, but then Notre Dame fought their way back. And again, we'll get into that.
You can't say you didn't watch and call it boring. You gotta pick one or the other.
Yeah.
Come on, Carol. My favorite people on Tuesday night. You know what? I'll take that.
Appreciate you, Brian.
All right, Raj. We do got to get to very, very, very special guest. Right now, it's been rumored, or maybe it's fact, that his team spent $20 million on their NIL. Did you know that the highest NIL single value went to him? He doesn't act like it. He's kept a level.
He's pretty modest. Yeah.
He wore a bow tie throughout the playoff run.
Yes.
That has now become the official uniform at Ohio State. So that's what they'll be wearing all next year.
I'll be interested to see that next year. Yes.
Yeah. And on that fateful play where Ohio State was, if they didn't get a first down, they'd had to punt it back. Notre Dame would have got the ball and they threw long. He was actually the person to call in. He said, "Hey, throw it to Smith." You're like, "No, we're just going to run a dive into the line, see if we get it and punt it." He said, "Throw it to Smith."
Yeah, but did anybody have to call in and say throw it to Smith?
On that play right there, they were clearly going to run it and then punt the ball. So he had to tell them, "Let's take a chance. All right. So, am I wrong, Trey, or is that how it happened?
So seriously yelled, "If you don't stop running Will Howard on the play, you can literally check the Twitter." I said, "If y'all do one more Will Howard, I am going to confine Chip Kelly." I said that. That was.
Raj.
I was lost.
And once they saw Jeremiah Smith on that island, they're like, "Dude, come on. This is an easy play. Let's just knock it out." So.
Yeah, he's a very propitious player. He's a very propitious player to have on your team. That's why. So that's why you're always gonna throw it up to him. So Raj asked this question off air. I feel like that's a good place to start. How is the high now? It's been 24 hours. Like, how are you still riding it? Does it go into the end of the week? Like, what's the feelings right now to be an Ohio State fan?
Oh, end of the week. It goes until next
year.
September. It goes at least into the spring game, at least into really into Banner Day. So actually, and I'll probably go back down. I was at the last Banner Day. I made a Hawaii. I made a point. I set at the 50-yard line that day. Like I stacked money, so I will be sitting at the 50. I'm doing the same thing this year. That's the plan. So I'll be back there at Banner Day again. The high doesn't leave. I woke up, I had to pinch myself. I get online, I look, all I see is Ohio State stuff. If you Googled Ohio State today, just type in the word Ohio State, a bunch of fireworks start popping up in a banner that goes across on Google. Seriously, do it, people.
Okay. So I know for Raj and I, whenever we win, when we did stuff like that, there was always like a play that we would replay over and over. For you, was that the case? Was it the whole game, or what was that?
In that game, I guess it's two plays. The Jeremiah Smith play, of course, because that's basically the clinching play, and I would say the Quincy Judkins stiff arm, because that was just
yeah.
Like even the cover Sports Illustrated right now is him stiff arm.
There you go.
Homeboy down. That's the cover Sports Illustrated this morning. So, and I know Sports Illustrated doesn't mean what it used to for younger folks out there, but for everybody, seasoned folks like us, Sports Illustrated being on that cover, it meant something.
It means a lot. That means a lot.
So much.
I still remember that Sports Illustrated, and I have to throw it back about 13 years ago because, anyway, I still remember the Sports Illustrated cover when they had Eddie Lacy on the front when we beat Notre Dame, and he was stiff arming a dude basically. So that was pretty cool. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
No, but you get it. That always stays with you.
But it's that nostalgia feel. Yeah. I love it. So.
And Brian was with you on that one. Now how we're made until next season starts. Oh yeah. I'm with you.
You ain't gonna know. You good.
Brian's right.
For the next.
We saw Brian. We're sorry that you're feeling under the weather, man. We hope you get better soon.
Hope you feel better, man. Yeah, for the next several months, the Ohio State the Buckeye fans get to gasconade around town and yelling at everybody and talking their smack and talking their trash and talking about how they won the championship. So it's a good feeling. No outfields. Congratulations to the team. My question to you, Trey, is did you call John immediately and talk about the game? What did he say? Like, what were his comments about the game?
No, I did. I mean, John texted me congratulations, but John's not really one of those extra, like, he's a Michigan fan, but he's not one of those over-the-top ones that's like, this is crazy. Y'all suck. Now, I will say, I went right into work today, and one of the guys at work is a Michigan fan. As soon as I walked in, he said, good morning. He's wearing his black shirt, talking about he's mourning today. And I said, look, I want to hear about this morning. I just want my congratulations and get back to work. I don't want to hear it.
Right. I don't like it. I mean, I guess if Auburn won the whole thing, I wouldn't be happy, but it wouldn't affect my next day either. Like they're not going to
break my cell phone or anything like that. Yeah, it's just pretty crazy.
No, when Michigan won last year, I just immediately was like, okay, that means we got to come right back with it. Now, what I remember happening is right as they were on this podium, I get an update and it says, Ole Miss running back Quincy Judkins commits in the transfer portal Ohio State. Like that literally happened right as Michigan won. And I said, oh, we're going for it. And I immediately thought, well, maybe this means the people are going to wake up and say, no, we have to come back and win this. And apparently that was right because that seems to be the mode from that moment forward. So probably actually in a weird way, a lot of people keep pointing back to the Michigan loss this year and saying that's what woke everybody up. And it did. But it really all started the day when Michigan beat Washington last year, started the entire ride. That's when all those guys said they were coming back. That's when you went in, got McLaughlin out the portal, Downs, all these guys, Saban retiring. No offense, sorry guys. But everything started to kind of unravel.
All right, it's been a fun show, everybody. Everybody have a good night. We appreciate everyone tuning in. So kind of getting into the game itself, obviously Notre Dame starts off with that, I don't know, kind of epic drive. What are your feelings after that first one? I mean, did it phase you at all? Did you care? Or were you like, okay, that was a little concerning? Like, where were you really out after that drive?
I wasn't concerned. The only thing that concerned me was I looked and said, man, they ate up a lot of clock, so we better score on this drive because they ate so much clock up. But I wasn't concerned in the fact of his run game because I said there's no way that Riley Leonard is about to run his ball 60 times. They basically went out there and said, okay, we're going to treat him like Derrick Henry. That was basically – they were like Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans styles, what they acted like they were going to do. I said, no. The guy – and then – so they go out, they come out after the first break, and they say, yeah, Riley Leonard, he just vomited on the sideline 2 times. And I said, okay, so
he's exhausted.
Have fun. I said, okay, have fun with this. And I kept saying on Twitter, go get in his chest. Like, smack him. I kept saying, I said, look, man, the guy's already tired.
Yeah.
Good evening to Randy. Got you.
Randy. Appreciate you for joining us, sir.
Yep. We were on a show last night where we kind of said what we thought was like the turning points of the game and stuff like that. And for us, like for my personal one, well, I think Roger agreed. He hated agreeing with me. He agreed. We watched, them drive down the field, and then Ohio State's just looked too easy, going back. And then Notre Dame couldn't answer. That's when I personally thought the game was over. I was like, okay, they can't replicate that for a whole game.
When y'all were up, Ohio State was up 14-7. Notre Dame had the ball on their own, 15, 20-yard line. When I realized that they weren't going to score and they were going to have to punt the ball back to y'all, that's when I kind of said, okay, this is the game that Notre Dame does not want to get into. They're not going to be able to go punch for punch with Ohio State. So once y'all got the ball back and y'all scored again, and it was 21-7, I said, okay, this is pretty much over. And obviously, throughout the rest of the game, it kind of got out of hand, but then Notre Dame fought their way back. But once y'all were up 14-7 and scored after that, I knew Notre Dame was in a bad spot.
Yeah, for them, what they couldn't do was go down. They need to keep the game low scoring. I think I heard maybe Joe Clatter, somebody say Notre Dame cannot afford to give it 21 points in this entire game. And Ohio State did that very quickly. So they were already in murky waters. They needed to, as much as the Riley Leonard drive, it was great. I thought one of their big mistakes for me is they didn't lean on Love at all. So later in the game, it was too late. And basically, what did we hear all game? Oh, Love is going to come. He's more healthy than ever. I would have came out and fed him the ball, maybe later started to use the Riley Leonard. I'm going to go and wear them down. But they started like that. He gets tired. Quickly, Ohio State scores. Love is now not a factor. And now they're playing uphill, having to try to throw great house, bombs and hope something comes of it.
Speaking of the bombs that were thrown, Riley Leonard actually ended up with 255 passing yards at the end of the game because in the fourth quarter, they finally started throwing the ball. Do you think that's something they should have started doing in the first half? I understand what got them to the national championship game was their dominant run game and so forth and so on. And I get that. They wanted to stick to the script. But do you think by maybe incorporating a little more pass in the first half, things would have been different?
I think a little more passing, but like I said, I really do stick to I would have ran Love more because I think if they started passing too much, Ohio State had problems with all year. I will say Denzel Burke and Davis and Igmanosin, they both committed a lot of penalties. I mean, Igmanosin had 16 penalties for either holding or passing interference. 16 games they played. That's one game. So you might have snuck one in, but I also feel the more he stepped back there, eventually JT or Sawyer was going to make them pay for it and make them rush something. Yeah. So I would have just fed that run, kept the ball out of Ohio State's powerful offense, and tried to control clock.
Yeah. That was one reason why I brought it up was because, number one, I couldn't pronounce his name, but I know you just pronounced it. But number one, your DB had like 2 or 3 holding penalties last night. And I was like, whoever he's guarding, if I'm Riley Leonard, I'm just going to challenge him and throw the ball at that guy because he keeps holding.
Yeah.
People did it all year. I mean, that was a big thing between him and Burke in the first Oregon game. That was a big thing that happened the first time, didn't happen the second time. And that wasn't the only game. Those two were very handsy. And if you were smart, sometimes you throw a 50-50 ball and take a chance.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I think they were holding even on the touchdown that Greyhouse caught. I think he had one of his arms, I think, when he was catching that one. And you mentioned Burke. Just on one negative. Didn't he seem like he kind of took a step back this year from possible, number one first rounder to I don't know where he's going to end. I haven't looked at the draft board, but it did seem like his stock kind of fell a little bit this year.
Stock definitely fell. I mean, Burke was supposed to be a consensus first-round pick last year. I would say Burke, I would assume maybe late second, early third. I think the playoff run, it wasn't bad, so that kind of helps. But his stock definitely went backwards.
Well, so you guys take the big league. You're going into halftime. You come out strong in the second half. When the fumble happens, are you thinking, okay, this is the little crack they need, or are you just kind of like, we're still going to be fine?
I got concerned because I was worried of what we talked about, that Chip was starting to get too comfortable. The fumble happens, and I said, is Chip going to stay aggressive, or is going to get comfortable with this pace? The other thing that honestly made me sick to my stomach, to be truthful with you, it was Emeka Egbuka, and I honestly loved Emeka Egbuka through the years he was there. And as they kept showing my sideline, I said, please don't let this guy's career end like this, because I was like,
right.
I know it's an NFL, and
Mark Andrews
jokes off. But honestly, I feel bad for him because that dude's been such a staple for the Ravens.
Yes.
And they finally almost get a chance to get back to the conference championship. And it's him that ends up being the GOAT. And I just didn't want to see Emeka's last game in college be like that, when that guy had been a team captain. He had been one of the stable guys there in the locker room for the entire time he had been with the team. So I'm glad that didn't end up being the legacy of that game.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Did you like most of us? Why was Notre Dame attempting a field goal at that point of the game off the fumble?
Well, that's when I really felt more comfortable, because when I heard that clank off the scoreboard or off of the goalpost. I said, okay, I feel better about that. I don't get what Freeman was. Most of Freeman's decision in that game, I don't question, but I question that.
Yeah,
I don't get because that was going to cut it to from 16 to 13. That didn't do nothing. At that point, you still needed Ohio State. You still need to score on Ohio State twice. At that point, you're that close. You were struggling to get down and take the chance. I didn't get it. I would have went to Great House and figured, hey, take my shot. Maybe we get another penalty. Maybe he makes a spectacular play, but that field goal did nothing.
And even if you don't get it, I mean, Ohio State's still deep in their own territory, so they have a long way to go. But yeah, I didn't understand the field goal attempt either. But
yeah. I think that might have been one of the few drives I also didn't like their play calling because I think they ran on first down, kind of got nothing in and threw. I know the third down pass I feel like was a quick pass to maybe get them, closer to where they could go for a fourth down. So I get it, 9 yards, you're not going to go for anything, but I'm almost thinking like run and like you said, to trot Love out there and give him 2 or 3 runs if you're going to go for it on fourth down anyway. Like I just don't feel like they set themselves up. Like you said, there's not much to question on Freeman. I thought he did the best he could with the hand he was dealt, but that was the one time I was like, I don't think I like this one at all.
Yeah, I agree.
So after that, you get there, and then you make the key play call when it's getting a little close. And you already mentioned what you were kind of screaming at the TV not to. Did you honestly think, though, let's say you guys run and punt, did you really think Notre Dame had a shot there, or was it just kind of like, all right, we're going to eliminate this whole thing from the whole process?
I think we would ultimately stop them. I felt like it was going to be another big Sawyer play. Honestly, Sawyer didn't really have the crazy impact he had in some of the other games, and I felt like he was due for a play with JT where he was having a better game. But I felt like that was where it was either going to be Sawyer or Simon. I felt like one of those two were going to make a crazy defensive play, but no need to make it come down to that. No, my blood pressure didn't need that.
Oh, speaking of that, you did have a buddy of yours that was on.
Cheers with the fireball. Let's go. National championship. We are going to win. Ohio against the world, baby. Ooh, fireball for the win. Water in the OSU cup to chase it.
You two were our 2 Ohio State fans leading up to the game, so we had to show you both some love. So, were you sipping on a little bit of extra water too?
Soon, but my water's still in here for a couple more days. All the championship gear's on the way.
Okay. What have we ordered so far?
Let's see. We have a championship hat, the one that was on the field. We have a championship cup. We're looking for a nice championship shot glass. I have a championship T-shirt coming. We'll find more.
Whoa, he sounds like a 5-year-old.
It was Christmas. Yesterday, Christmas. Y'all thought Christmas was December 25th? No, January 20th. That's Christmas Day now.
There you go.
Until the next championship. January 20th will be Christmas.
Mm-hmm. So we've mentioned this several times on the shows. After this playoff run, what are your assessments of Chip Kelly and Ryan Day?
Well, Ryan Day saved his career. Ryan Day probably just earned himself an extensive extension. Chip, I'll be interested in. I think Chip's actually okay being a coordinator. I don't think he really wants to get back on the trail and do all the recruiting and everything. Yeah. So I think Chip may stay for another year or two. I don't know if he really wants to get back out there. Ryan, before we got here, everybody said, man, this is going to be an impossible battle. Can Ryan somehow run the gauntlet? If he does, he saves his job. And that includes me. I said that. Well, I guess he saved his job. I guess I know this is going to sound crazy, but he probably can actually afford to lose to Michigan next year because he has a national championship to fall back on. Now, that being said, he does not need to lose to Michigan next year. I just say he probably can afford to lose to Michigan next year.
But isn't it safe to say that, yes, by him winning a national championship, he extended his coaching career? But isn't it safe to say that if, and you may have just answered this, but if he does lose to Michigan next year, will there be some people in Ohio State Nation that say Ryan Day has to go? Like, what if he loses to Michigan, or what if he doesn't win the Natty? Isn't he still going to receive the same type of criticism that he was receiving this year?
There'll be some, but it'll be significantly more quiet. I mean, next year, like right now, Vegas has the list as the favorite. Fine. Right. But this year we brought everybody back. There's some resetting to do at quarterback. There's a lot of resetting to do here. So there's more built-in excuse. The last 2 years, he basically had a team that had been very veteran-led. Really the last 3. I guess we can go back even to C.J. Stroud's year. So this is probably the first year where in a while he'll go in with high expectations, but it ain't the same. It won't be the same expectations these years.
As far as resetting is concerned, I think Quishon Judkins is a junior. Do you think he comes back or do you think he leaves?
I originally thought he was going to come back. Based on how his playoffs went, I think he'll leave.
Yeah.
I would love him to come back. But if he leaves, by all means,
it's the right time.
Root him the best. Yeah, this might be – it may be time to take it from the playbook of Cardale Jones. Cardale Jones came back last time. The next year, stock wasn't as high. Stock is as high as going to get for some of these guys right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Best time is to leave on top for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Raj, because we do need at least Alabama's perspective, because you kind of see the inner workings of the Ohio State game. What did you think about the game? Did you ever honestly think Notre Dame was going to come back in that one, or did it just kind of play out?
No. Once it was once it was 31-7, I honestly started folding up some laundry, walked in the kitchen, started wiping the counters down. I still had the game on in the living room, and I was listening, but I was like, okay, this game's over. So then they get the turnover, they come back, they make it a game. It was like 31-15 at one point. I said, okay, Notre Dame's kind of scraping their way back into the game. And I was proud of the way it ended, 34-23. Notre Dame got back into it. It wasn't a blowout. But overall, I mean, Ohio State was the better team on the roster-wise coming into the game on both sides of the ball, and they finished it out. So kudos to them.
Yeah. It's funny how you're looking through the chat and like everyone's getting excited for spring games. That tells you how the rest of our seasons kind of went.
That's how we were after our last game. I was just like, look, we got to look forward to April and then see what happens come September. So
yeah, and we'll definitely be covering more of those during the year. We'll see if Randy has some time to come on to talk about his spring game. I don't know. So I guess back to the game. And Raj, I guess you talked about it too a little bit because we did our show. Raj was funny. He said he tuned off the game, but we were on a show last night. And he's already texted me. Do I need to take notes? Do I have to keep watching before we go on? But like honestly, to me, the game, like I said, there was only two ways the game could go. If Notre Dame was going to win, it had to be low scoring, and if if Ohio State won, it's going to be high scoring. Somebody you mentioned and you didn't mention in there because you did mention John. How is Mike doing today? Is he all right?
I don't see Mike because the expectations for that team was not to go to the national championship. I think Mike rode that a little bit easier. Like I won't say it was easy for him, but at this point they were playing with house money. That's the truth of this. Nobody really picked them to go there.
Right.
If I remember having a conversation with Mike the day of the Northern Illinois game, it was like burn down the house. And to go from that to actually make it to the national championship, we talked a lot, me and him, last night about like Freeman, how good of a job he did. Mike was more honestly concerned if they could somehow hold Freeman, that he thought they could be good. And I told him, I said, look, the Bears' job is gone, so I think Freeman will be there next year.
Yeah.
Now, the only way I think Freeman leaves Notre Dame is either A, if it was the Ohio State job, which now is clearly not open, or if it was the NFL job. And I think the NFL job that he would have wanted was the Bears one of those, and that one's gone. So I think Notre Dame would be in good hands for a minute. So I think Mike could be all right.
Yeah. I mean,
why do you see Go ahead, Rush. Go ahead.
No, I mean, if you look at Freeman's record since he's been at Notre Dame, he's gotten better each year. So, like, the next step after this right now is to win a national championship. But as I stated yesterday, it would be interesting for him to do that, of course. But I don't know if he'll be able to win one at Notre Dame. I just don't know if it's going to happen or not.
It's going to be tricky, but
yeah.
If anybody could do it, it would be him. Because I think he has now set a culture and a tone. I mean, you remember when Brian Kelly's there and he's talking about I can't get kids in because of the grades and all that. Yeah. Well, clearly Marcus Freeman didn't have a problem.
He's not having those problems,
An impossibility. Another thing, too, that I thought was interesting, I look at that, this Notre Dame versus, let's say, some of those Notre Dame teams like Alabama beat down. This was a much faster athletic team than Notre Dame put out in a while. He found a way to get athletes out there. Notre Dame has struggled in that department for years. And I mean, I'm talking back to him. I'm talking Charlie Weiss. I'm talking Ty Willingham. Notre Dame is always trying to get athletes. This is one of the more athletic Notre Dame teams I can remember watching.
Yeah. You say that, though, but to me, I felt like they didn't have it offensively. I felt like maybe defensively and maybe like some skill like running back. But Grayhouse was their only real receiver. I feel like if they were going to challenge you, they needed at least one stud wide receiver, maybe two. Maybe three, really, the way that one was going. But I felt like because early on in the game, when he dropped back the pass, Leonard had a lot of time early on. He just wasn't really finding anyone. So, and then we talk about, like Burke, taking a step back, and with the other wide receiver or the other DB who Raj and I can't pronounce his name, being a little handsy. I just don't feel like they had the athletes on that side to compete with you guys.
I mean, ultimately, they didn't. But the thing, and I know it's going to sound like I'm sticking my chest out. The thing is, most people in the country didn't. So I didn't. When I say that, I mean more athletic in the standard where Notre Dame had been in more recent years.
So you lowered the bar to Notre Dame standard and said they were good.
Yeah, and it's not. And honestly, I know that's probably coming off as shade, but I mean, I'm comparing that to growing up and remembering like squads where Jeff Samardzija is like that's the only person you got out there that looks athletic on the team, and he decides to go play baseball. Remembering people like Malik Zaire, his sorry self. And thank you, by the way, Malik. Shout out to Malik Zaire. Big shout out to that guy.
Wow.
No,
hey, Malik.
Shout out to him. Malik said Will Howard was the worst quarterback in the college football playoff. Maybe he's right. Shout out to you, Malik. Will Howard showed you last night.
Well, Will Howard, I think the thing for me, like coming into the season, I was questionable about Will Howard because all I know of was his days from Kansas State. Right. But he didn't have the Ohio State weapons he did at Kansas State. So once he came to Ohio State, he had the dual running back system in Henderson and Junkins. He had the receivers. He had all the weapons right there. So I don't think they needed him to throw for 350 or 400 yards a game. They just needed him to get rid of the ball. So he has all the weapons right there at Ohio State. So he was in good hands. And he played phenomenal this season and really, really good last night too. And his mobility. He kind of kicked in that mobility.
That was the big thing.
Yeah, those runs, those short runs to get those first downs yesterday definitely helped. So he played a hell of a game. Kudos to him.
That was my big thing when they brought in Will. I told everybody at the beginning, I said, I'm not saying Will Howard's going to go out here and be C.J. Stroud or be Braxton Miller or Justin Fields or anything, but he was more mobile than McCord. McCord was a standing duck back there. And that was where I said, look, I don't need him to be great. I need him not to turn the ball off and don't look scared in the pocket. He did. But for the most part, even when we lost to Oregon, I know he made that stupid play and everybody to talk about it, but he didn't look scared throughout the game. Yeah, he made the stupid. And I'll be honest with you, I told people back then the reason he made that stupid play was because of Jaden Fielding. Nobody trusted him to kick that ball. He went for every yard he could. Jaden Fielding showed y'all that again when we got the Michigan game. That dude was getting every yard because we knew we didn't have a field goal kicker. and also, Brian Day, one big thing to address next year, we need a field goal kicker. The offense probably isn't going to be as explosive next year. Got to get a field goal kicker in there.
Yeah. Do you agree that and this is the first link that I kick, so you can't, how much stock you want to put in it. Will Howard, draft projection, 4th round.
That's what it currently is now?
Yeah. Y'all agree with that?
I think somebody's going to do it in the 3rd. The championship, somebody's going to – this is what's going to happen. Somebody – I can see it right now. They're going to be sitting there, and they'll have Louis Frick and those guys will say, he has championship pedigree. I can actually see. Yeah. That's going to boost him to the 3rd. So he's going about 3rd round.
I think that, and then I think he's going to have a good combine too, and a lot of scouts are going to get to know him better, talk to him, hands-on, face-to-face type of thing. So I would move him up to maybe even, late 2nd, depends on who picks, or early 3rd. So I think he'll be all right.
Yep. And Carroll, I get Carroll, but it was still a good game to me, and I watched it. Plus, we were also going to be on the show afterwards.
We watched Georgia in the national championship. It's okay to watch others. It's okay to watch others flourish. We watched you all for it.
Yeah. Well, I told Randy that before, and he looked shocked. Like, you didn't watch it? I was like, no, I didn't care. So it comes full circle. It's fine. And Big Mike, they've got their little Royal Rumble coming up on there. So I need to get more details on it and why I wasn't invited. Probably my physique. I'm only good at fantasy football against Raj. So
but Mike said Mike was gonna come on today, but he said something about going to the gym, lifting weights, and something about a Royal Rumble, him getting ready. That's when I texted him earlier. So I think Mike Cinco Squad, Mike said he's ready. That's
I'll definitely be tuning into that. So, we got to support Big Mike, the man behind the scenes. So, all right, you kind of mentioned a little bit about what's next for you guys, but, it seemed like coach's staff, seemed like Ryan Day's going to stay. What's your biggest area you think you're going to lose in that you need to get replaced for next year? Obviously, you got Jeremiah Smith, so it seems like everything's going to be okay.
It's the defense. Most of the defense is going to be gone. Like, that is Even though Sin may or may not come back, I think he needs to come back because he gets too handsy and he has to work on that. So he'll be back. With the exception of him, I think we may have maybe Sonny Styles might come back. Everybody else on the defense, Caleb Downs has to come back because of years. Everybody else on the defense is pretty much out of eligibility, so they'll all be gone. So the defense is definitely where you need to look at. But I think Arvell Reese is going to step up. We had Matthews at corner kind of step in, especially when Burks was struggling.
Yeah,
so I think he'll Lady Alpha said the same thing for defense. They're all gone. So, we have to reset there. Three of our top 4 receivers will be back. Running back, we'll probably lose both, but we got a guy from West Virginia that's coming in. Real big dude. I can't think of his name right now. But the guy basically rushed about 700 yards last year, 11 touchdowns. He's going at about 230. Big boy. He's going to come in, and we also got another good running back, Peoples, who will be there. James Peoples will be pretty good. We also got Cass Merritt, the tight end, already committed to come back. And we have another tight end coming in who will be pretty decent. The line on offense, weirdly, everybody got hurt from our original line almost. So a good half of the line that started will be back by default. So they actually have a lot more experience. So the line actually may become a strong point of offense. But it's got to be defense next year.
Yeah. He mentioned this a minute ago, too, Lady Alpha. Yeah.
Damn kicker. We have to kicker.
And is it safe to say? Is it safe to say that Sayin will be the starting quarterback, or is that just safe for spring right now and we'll see what happens? But do you think Sayin will be taking the snaps come September?
Sayin comes in as the one. I mean, clear-cut one. His battle will be with Tavian St. Clair. That's our 5-star freshman that's coming in. Tavian is one of those NFL builds. I mean, 6'4", 225, coming in at 18 already, built like that. Threw for 10,000 yards in high school in his career, and threw for, I think they said, over 100 touchdowns. So it's going to be between those two. I think it's Saint's job to lose, but St. Clair, I think, is going to give him a battle. So it's between those two.
That size will definitely help out. 6'4", 220 for a quarterback. That's
as a freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, that's him coming in right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's not even.
That's a big boy.
Not even in the off season yet.
Yeah.
So. Rod used to be that big, but kids really cut him down, I think. Sorry,
yeah,
Rod.
shrunk. Yeah, now I'm like 5'10". It's weird.
I thought you were like 5'9.5". So do you think you guys deserve to be the odds-on favorite, the early odds-on favorite to win next year?
I think naturally they're going to do that because, I mean, at this point, okay, so you only have 3 coaches in college football who have national championships that are active. You got Day, Dabo, and Kirby. That's all you have. So naturally, people are going to look at the coaches. People look at consistency. Ohio State has been consistently there. And then, okay, so you can make this argument, and anybody in the chat can tell me if you believe otherwise. The best offensive player in the country entering next year is going to be Jeremiah Smith, in most people's opinion. The best defensive player in the country, in most people's opinion, will be Caleb Downs. We'll have the best offensive player. Who do you have?
Anybody else. I agree with that Jeremiah Smith guy. I've never heard of the other guy, so I just don't know enough about him.
Caleb Downs is. I saw Caleb Downs on TV last night, but I was like, I can't figure this out.
I just never seen him before, so I just don't know enough about him.
Yeah.
So I hope he loses the batteries to his remote though.
So with them returning that, and it's hard. It's harder than ever with teams to really make a preseason prediction because you got all the transfer portals. I mean, look at we got a lot of Georgia people in the chat. I'm not saying Carson Beck is the next coming to Matt Staff or anything, but now you lose him. So now you got to go out. Let's see what Gunner actually has. So I mean that makes a big difference there. When you look at Texas, I mean everybody can jump up and say Arch Manning didn't start last year. This is fresh. So there's a lot of to be desired on a lot of these teams. Penn State. I mean, hey, they brought back Aller. They brought back both running backs. But, again, what have I told you 8 million times? I don't trust you out. So,
Randy,
Randy
said I'm only talking about Georgia.
I still have to see a lot from Drew Aller because I'm not high on him yet at all.
I'm not either. We were on a show with one guy who was high on him. And I know some scouts like his size, but I've just never seen anything from him.
I haven't seen it, man. I'm missing it. So
I don't see it.
Carol, this is why we want to just hurry up and fast forward to it. That's why we're getting excited about the 8-day game. So I agree. And the fact that you still got one more transfer portal. I don't think any of us even knows. But we love our college football, so there is no waiting. Right. We want to know now. So What else do you see kind of around your conference? And I was kind of looking at y'all's schedule, I guess, for next year. You start off with the big one against Texas.
Imagine being Arch Manning. That's your first game.
Oh, I know. It's going to be guns
blazing.
So, I mean, we start off with Texas. That's going to be interesting. This year we have to go to Michigan. Michigan, everybody can say what they need to about Ohio State paid $20 million in NIL, blah, blah, blah. And Michigan paid $12 million for 1 man. So shut up. Whatever. Y'all pay $12 million for one person.
Can I say this to the $20 million? Because we said this last night. If Alabama had paid $20 million and we had won the whole thing, couldn't nobody say
whatever
anything
you want
to. Yeah, I would be like this. What'd you say? You know what I mean?
About that. Oregon spent 23, and where were they at? Texas spent over 20. Where were they at? And the other thing about it too is most of that money went for guys to come back. It wasn't like we went out here and paid for all these guys to come in. The defense was the defense, with the exception of one person. Everybody else was there last year. There was only one person that came in. We didn't give that guy $15 million. Michigan went out and paid 12 for one person. Remember that, Blue. You paid 12 for one guy.
Yeah, Kat. That's the thing. Like, we're as fans, we want to get excited, but yeah, this was a very humbling season. So, and Carol, yeah, we knew that you got did you go watch our little thing where Rodg cut down Carson Beck a little bit? So
I didn't.
You didn't cut him down a little bit?
I just spoke the truth, and I said what a lot of people are thinking. We all saw Carson Beck. You've seen his girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
actually, I have a question for y'all.
Money talks.
I have a question for y'all. I have a question for the chat out of curiosity. Yes. I remember back when we lost to Michigan, there were certain people, and I was arguing online with people about, oh, it's your fault. Y'all shouldn't have got rid of Kyle McCord. And I'm like, they're going to still throw 5 interceptions. In my opinion, I don't know if he gets it done here. I never believed in him. I still don't think we get it done. Do y'all believe if we took the exact same team, we went with the exact same position, and we had to make this run, and Kyle McCord our quarterback, does Ohio State finish this job? No, because I'm not confident we finish the job.
I don't think so. And again, like as I mentioned earlier, I think it was Will Howard's mobility throughout the season, which got you all to this.
Especially in this game.
Yeah, especially in this game. And there's a chance maybe you lose another game during the regular season with Kyle McCord at quarterback. So I think Will Howard was the right guy, and he proved it last night.
Yeah, Raj and I have talked about a lot of times the difference between running quarterback and mobile quarterback. And you guys didn't need a runner. You just needed a little bit of mobility. You saw the times when Howard took off, he stopped back in the pocket. He looked. Everybody was covered. So if you're McCord and you're trying to force it to one of those guys, that's bad. But because everybody's covered and they're playing some kind of man or whatever, he takes off. It's like 10 yards before the DBs even realize, oh, dang, the quarterback's running. That's why why this is going this way. So, no, I think that the switch was one. I didn't like it at the time just because it felt like he was being scapegoated for the way the season went, and in this day and age, everything just happens so publicly. So I felt bad for him. But if you're Ryan Day and you're like, I got to, save my job here and I got to win it next year and I got to get my guy in, then you got to do what you got to do. Right. So and where was this last one? Yeah. I think a lot of us say the same thing, man. Arch is just giving a lot of hype on his name and what people expect. I would love it if Texas starts off as number 1 because they're probably the team in the conference I'll root them.
They're losing 2 key receivers. They're losing Golden and the other guy too. Okay. So I think Ryan Wingo is going to step up huge for them. But they're losing some key receivers there. So and again, he's just going off the name. We don't know how good Arch is going to be, if he's going to be that good at all. So that'll be interesting to see. And again, his first game at Ohio State. I mean, that's a huge game. That's going to be huge for him. So
this was your Photoshop line about the Cavender twins and stuff like that with Carson Beck. So Raj, did you see LJ?
I saw him at the game last night. Yeah, I called him. We talked before he went to the game. I talked to LeBron a little bit. Said, hey man, kudos, congratulations on Ohio State being here. We talked for a little while. He texted me last night after the game. Actually, FaceTimed me after the game. I was like, man, I'm kind of tired. I'm at home with the kids. Just chill out a little bit, LJ. Chill out, LeBron. But he gets a little wide after the game. Had a little tequila. I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna, hit me up next time you're in Arlington. So me and LeBron are cool like that. Sorry, I didn't go.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I heard that through the grapevine.
Appreciate it.
Yes. I think the reason why I think he'll be better off is like he's going to make more money next year, and he's playing against weaker defenses. I agree with your point about they don't have the pieces, and Miami's not winning it next year. So I think you're going to see a lot of empty stats from Beck next year just by that fact. The defense
it'll be
a million times worse.
It'll be good for his resume going into the league because he'll have a good individual season, but I wouldn't be surprised if Clemson wins the ACC again next year. So, and with that being said, Miami might lose 3 or 4 games and miss the playoff again. But again, for Carson Beck, I mean, you're making the money, you're moving closer to your girl. Just do it one more year, then go on to the league. So
you do believe that's his girl now? You're on board.
I mean, yeah. I believe that. It's just like I said. Anyway, let's go. Next topic.
Okay. All right. So this is a goofy one for both of y'all, but just because we're kind of doing a look ahead. If y'all had to pick a top 5 from what you think going into next year, what 5 teams are you going with?
Oh, that's a good question.
Go
ahead, Trey. I'm sorry.
Okay.
There you go. Hey, you remember that banner?
I remember that. Yeah.
Ohio State's still there. Texas is still in the top 5. Penn State, because of what they returned, is still in the top 5. Georgia's still going to have enough guns to put in the top 5.
What is Penn? So Penn State seems like they've had a lot of movement. Like, did every wide receiver leave?
Yeah, but we're not like that through the receivers anyways. I mean,
it was that tight end they had that left.
Yeah, the tight end.
He had to go.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of wide receivers transferred out. But not that you would know any of them because
not that you know those guys anyway. Yeah. So I think those.
There you go, one.
And honestly,
I think that's a fair list.
Yeah, it's pretty much probably Notre Dame probably is the other one, just because of at this point, you kind of come back, you say you got some of their certain pieces coming back, you have one of the better coaches, they'll probably put them top 5 to start. So I can actually agree with that list. Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, Notre Dame.
Since Mike asked, I'm not doing it in order. I'm gonna go Ohio State, Texas. I'm gonna say Notre Dame. I put Georgia in there. Number 5. Not us. I don't know about Oregon because Gabriel's leaving, isn't he? Didn't he exhaust his eligibility too?
Yeah, Gabriel's out.
I would think so. Is this really like his third team? Yeah, Carol.
Yeah, he's out.
I agree too. I think those 5 are.
That's because he was at like Central Florida, Oklahoma, and then Oregon. So number 5. I don't like Penn State in there.
It's like they're going to be in there, and obviously we got to look at their schedule, but it just seems like they're going to be in there. They'll probably sound like a 10-2 team without me even looking at their schedule, Penn State.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're going to get in the playoff just because of that. So
I'm gonna throw some Alabama bias in there.
There you go.
So I'm just going to put Alabama in.
Lady Alpha said this is in order too.
Ohio State, again, with Oregon, it's like, I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. Now they do have Ja'Cory Moore, who's like the number 1 rated wide receiver next year. But again, I don't know who's going to be throwing the ball. So that's why I didn't put Oregon in there yet.
I think Oregon.
He said he'd dive over. I honestly hope Bama is outside the top 10 to start the year. I hope.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously the way we played and the way we ended, like I feel like we have the potential because of the defense, but I also would just put us outside the top 10 and make them prove it.
Make them mad.
You know, maybe that'll have. Yeah. So but I think that's a fair ranking for sure. And Oregon at 6. So, Is anybody expecting the spring transfer window to be crazy, or do you think we've kind of seen most of our movement already?
No, it's going to be crazy. It's always going to be crazy as long as there's no rules. The people got money to spend now. Everybody's done with the season, so now the real money comes out. I think it's going to be crazy.
Players are going to be talking to each other on social media, trying to figure things out. Where are you going? What are you doing? All this type of stuff. So we're still going to have a little bit of movement. My big thing was all those guys that we have returning on defense. I just hope they stay with Bama. I know they've made their pledges on social media with all these long posts and Roll Tide. We have unfinished business. If you have unfinished business, just stay with us through spring. Stay through us to 25 season. We need y'all to stay. Don't leave after 8A or whatever the case may be. So, but there will be a little bit of movement.
Well, the thing with the spring too is now you get people that they go to camp, realize in the spring, oh wait a minute, I'm not gonna get the ticket. I thought I was gonna leave. Now I'm out.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reason why I thought that was a weird one. Yeah, Carol, the whole thing is going to be a roller coaster ride, and and I think for the top teams, that's why I think some of the losses get a little overrated. They're like, oh, this team's lost 20 people in the portal. All the top teams do it because nobody wants to sit behind the guy who's entrenched as a starter. And that's why these teams get hit hard by injuries because they don't have the depth that they used to have. So Yeah. I get that for sure. I always thought it's weird they're trying to get rid of the spring transfer window because that seems like your last, okay, here we've gone through A-Day game or whatever else is called their spring game, and you've got out there, you've played, and you kind of see your position on the team. Like that's the time when I thought they'd go versus this craziness of people transferring before their team gets to go to the playoff. Like I don't get that at all, you know?
Honestly, yeah, to me, that I agree. The spring is really, that's where you see where you have the depth chart. That's when you win and you put the off-season work in and you say, okay, either I'm going to be the guy or I'm not going to be the guy. Right now, I mean, we had, I think Devin Brown, who was our backup quarterback, projected to go to Cal, and I started seeing all these names, different people. I mean, we had a guy transfer out 2 weeks ago in the middle of the playoffs. So I'm thinking in my head, does that guy get a ring or not? I mean, I don't know how this works. The further you go, the weirder it is to be in the transfer portal of your team's still playing, but I want to leave. I kind of still want to be here and at least get a ring. So the spring is to me, the more impactful portal.
I agree.
So Trey, let me ask you a silly question right quick. If you're the coach of a team and a player comes up to you to the spring transfer portal and they want to transfer, do you immediately cut off their facilities, their access to all the facilities right away? Or do you give them, like, I don't know how it works. So do you give them a couple days and say, all right, listen, man, your meal card is going to work for the next week and then you got to go? Like, how does that work? Because if it's me, I'm cutting you off. You got to go.
No, you got to go because, I mean, a lot of the time the transfer portal, you end up going to a rival. I mean, how many times does a guy from Wisconsin jump up transfer and he goes to Penn State? We might play you this year. I can't have you.
Exactly. That was my reasoning too. I don't want you using my weight room facility or eating my good steaks and food and then getting big and strong and then going to play against a team that we got to play later on in the season. You got to go immediately.
You got to go.
Yeah.
So you guys both disagree with the couple of coaches that let their guys in the portal start their bowl games?
You said
I wouldn't let them start. Didn't that happen?
There were guys in the portal. Was it like Tulane and there was another team, where their guy was in the portal, but he still started the bowl game.
And the guy in Tulane threw like 3 or 4 interceptions. I was like, what was the whole point of that?
No, I'm not letting you, because at that point, a part of what the bowl season for is to see what do I have going forward.
Thank you.
If you're not in the playoffs,
Thank you.
I guess this was a whole debate too when Cam Moore played the half. I said, look, they weren't playing for anything. Either Cam Moore plays all 4 or he doesn't play. At that point, if I'm Miami, I want to see what else I have. Now, I guess it's
Thank you.
Now, we didn't know that. But I want to see what else I got. So at that point, no, I'm not putting you out here when you're about to leave. Let me see what else is on the roster and what I have going forward the next season.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we had this, I don't even know if it was a debate, but, people were like, oh, should you guys have pulled Milroe or not? I was like, he should have got pulled no matter what the situation was. Right. Yeah, new coaching staff coming in. Next year is like a pivotal year already, even though it's year 2. I want to see what Ty Simpson has in game position, especially in a game where the number one offense hasn't done anything. I definitely want to see what Ty was. But had we been up big, I wanted to see Ty Simpson. If we've been down big, I wanted to see Ty Simpson. So it didn't really have to do a game script.
I wanted him to go.
Yeah, if I'm a coach, I want to see next year what I got next year.
So Ohio State had that thing last year where, remember, McCord basically said, I'm entering the portal after the Michigan game. We go out to Arkansas, get our ass kicked, but Devin Brown started that game. Devin Brown didn't look good. Neither did the offensive line, but Devin Brown didn't look good. I think that also gave Ryan Day more incentive to say, I have to go get a quarterback out the portal because we test ran it. We went against SEC team, and he looked good. So, you need to see what you got.
Yeah. That's because you can't see it in the spring game like you can in a regular game.
I'm with Herb, and even in the ReliaQuest Bowl when we played Michigan, I was like, dude, regardless of the score, just put Ty in. I mean, we kind of really don't have anything else to lose. I mean, it would be nice to finish with a 10-win season, but if we lose, we're 9-4, so be it. We're not going to the playoff. Let's put Ty Simpson in and see if he can throw the ball around.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Especially, I mean, and, I'll say something nice about Michigan. At the end of the day, it's still a Big Ten competition. You still were playing. It wasn't like y'all were playing some D2 school. Let's see what that guy has against an actual legitimate Division I Power 4 conference.
Yeah, I agree. All right, catch up real quick. I know Mike had his in. I think there's kind of a consensus about, he got Clemson in there, I guess, instead of Penn State. I could take that. I don't think they're a top 5 team, but I do think they can win the ACC. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I think Clemson repeats as the ACC championship next year. They got Cade coming back, and they'll be in the playoff again. So I can see that.
Yeah. And the portal, and I think Carol followed up on it. Yeah. It is. And I know I think they're doing it. I always thought they're doing it because of the early signing period or whatever, and guys are trying to get to their new team before they sign everybody. Okay, whatever. But like I said, you play a whole season with the guy, and then right before your bowl game and right before your playoff game, you jump off the team. Like the timing just looks terrible. But
I just can't wait to see that ESPN 30 for 30 documentary regarding the transfer portal, because it's going to come out in a couple years from now. They're going to have a big old documentary about the transfer portal and all the effects of players you don't hear about, and then players that actually prospered from it. So,
yep. The best, yeah. And that's really it. But like I said, I think you lose a lot of depth pieces, and that's the one part you can't really game plan against. So you do get a lot of more freshmen and sophomore getting time out there, but no, it's just a goofy situation to deal with. So, I was gonna a very special surprise for you guys, real quick, if y'all wanted a minute, because it was always mentioned in there. What are the Lakers looking like this year? And
here we go.
I was going to give you a shot, Roger. You used to have the Rodg minute, so I figured if you guys were LeBron fans, you'd have a second to at least talk about how great your Lakers are looking this year.
I mean, they're over 500 still. I mean, they're 5 games over 500. They play the Wizards in about 30 minutes here. They'll win that game. LeBron's going to come out and, he'll feel good about last night's result, and he'll be all right. I'm not saying championship. That's not what this season.
I kind of feel like we're going to end up with the same season we end up the previous few years. I mean, we're in 6th spot right now in the West, but we got whooped by the Clippers by like 20, 21 points a couple days ago. It's obvious
because they rule LA. Is that why?
It's obvious. Listen, we still need to make a few changes on the roster. I do like the pick we get with Dalton Connect. I still can't figure out Dalton Connect though, because we got him with the 17th pick, and when he plays enough minutes, he puts up good points. But then there's other times when he doesn't really play a lot. I don't know. Yeah, but we should win tonight. We should beat the Wizards down. The Wizards only won like 5 or 6 games this year. But I feel like we're probably going to end up 7th, 8th spot in the West and barely squeak into the playoffs. So, again, to Trey's point, I don't think we're going to win the championship or anything like that. It's just, if we make it to the playoffs.
At this point, the play-in game is I forgot what person I heard. So I don't even want to steal credit. This wasn't somebody said the play-in game is the LeBron James invitation. Every year, Lakers go, they play. LeBron balls out. Where's the play-in? They go to playoffs and end up losing. That's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
Well, Carol, we'll get to your next question after that. But yeah, Raj and I used to be big NBA people, but now we kind of don't really watch until the playoffs.
I've been a huge LeBron fan for the longest, so I follow him, watch him, and I mean, some of the games that come on throughout the week, some of them I watch, some of them I just don't watch. Like the Clippers game was on TV the other night, and I turned to it for like 2 minins, and it got out of hand. I was like, I'm not going to watch the rest of that.
Yeah, he said I'm not watch the rest of that. Yeah. Okay. This is a good one though. Who's y'all picks to make the Super Bowl?
Well, first of all, Jalen Hurts injury. Is there any updates to that? Was it sprain? What's
I don't think you're going to get a real update, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's going to say he's fine, and he's going to say he's all right.
Yeah,
I guarantee. AJ Brown's the same way.
I got the Bills versus Philly, and I'm going to take Philly to win because that's who I want to win. But I would not be surprised if Buffalo won.
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody who's ever watched the Single Squad podcast knows I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I always pick the Chiefs. As I've said it many times, I pick the Chiefs until further notice.
And if you haven't watched the Single Squad, why not?
Why aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Cat, don't say that. Same thing.
Everybody always hears me say, I've said it for years. It's Patrick, Michael, Jordan, Mahomes. That's what I call the guy. That's who he is. That's who's going to win the Super Bowl. The other side, I'm undecided. I kind of started taking my notes for our show before I got on this show. So, if you want my NFC picks, you got to tune into our show Thursday. We take tomorrow.
There you go. There you go.
I'm undecided. I will have an answer for you on Thursday's show about the NFC side. But just know I'm taking the Chiefs because I always take the Chiefs.
Hey, special shout out to Jaden Daniels, man, for taking the team this far. So kudos to him, man.
I agree. Yeah. And Carol, I know what the reports say. I just don't think he's 100%. But I'm rooting for Philly also in this game, so I hope he's good enough to help them win for sure.
Well, we have John. Our show, John is an Eagles fan, so we do have a diehard Eagles fan actually on our show. So I can tell you one of our picks is the Eagles from John. Yeah. The rest of ours, I have no idea what the rest of everybody else is picking.
Good. Raj, do you have any other final thoughts or questions before we kind of get into
not
some
really?
craziness?
Again, in all seriousness, kudos trade to you and the Ohio State Buckeyes, man. Y'all earned it. Y'all were the best team throughout the year. Had a few rough losses, but you bounced back.
Yep.
Kudos to your team. Kudos to the roster. Kudos to Ryan Day. Bought some more time. Ohio State looked good, man. They looked good last night. They looked good. Had a really, really good playoff run. Ran through a nice gauntlet. Beat some really, really good teams. Kudos. Congratulations, man.
Yep.
Definitely appreciate that.
We definitely saw that for sure. Yep. Oh, I did know one question I kind of lost in there, huh?
I did just get a Bleacher Report notification that Caleb Downs is thinking about coming back to Alabama. So that's something to look out for.
For a visit?
You know what? I just realized it only came on my phone. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because I don't. Yep. And we posted congrats to everybody, so y'all definitely deserve to live it up, man. You know, if your team wins, your team wins. One question I meant to ask in the middle of all that: do you feel like either your coordinators are gonna leave?
No, because I don't think either one really wants to. If anybody would be Chip, I don't think Chip really wants to be a head coach, and I don't think I think Knowles likes just running the defense. I don't think he wants to do the out there grind. So
I don't think Randy's listening right now, but Carol's our favorite Georgia Bulldog fan, so we appreciate her. And she just gave you a congrats. So
appreciate that, Carol. Yes. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, so I think I've only maybe got one for you tonight.
Yeah.
And that's why we kind of led into the Super Bowl. So work, play, live, ditch, but Super Bowl quarterback edition. So you know the rules, who you're going to work with, who you're going to live by, who you're going to go out with, and who you send into voicemail. Jalen Hurts, Michael Jordan Mahomes?
That's
or
Patrick Michael Jordan
Mahomes. Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels.
Okay, so it was a work, play.
Live and ditch.
Work with Mahomes. I mean, if we're gonna work, we gotta get this money. We gotta be productive and get this money. So we definitely work with Mahomes.
I feel like he's the kind of guy though. It's like, hey, this is what OSHA standards are, and he's like, well, this is all I got, so we're just gonna strap the belt around here, and like put this through here, and you're like, what? He's like, yeah.
But he'll figure it out. Even no pieces. Everybody says he doesn't have weapons. He just figures it out. If we go in and they say budget cuts, I know he's going to be like, don't worry about these budget cuts.
No, don't worry about the budget cuts. We're good. We're good, bro.
We'll figure this out. We're gonna still, the assembly line is going to still be productive today. Don't worry. This is going to get pushed through. So work with Mahomes. Then we got play, ditch, and live. I got Josh Allen, Jaden,
and Jalen Hurts.
I think I would play with. I'm gonna play with Jaden.
He's the youngest.
Like when I watch them,
right? Say he's the youngest.
Well, he's younger, and honestly, everybody seems like they just have such a good time. When you see his energy, he has a really good energy. Every time they fight him, the guy is like smiling. I just like he has a good aura. Like I like his vibe. So I would play with him. You know, we got live
and
ditch.
Oh, you ditching? That's what we really want to know.
Yeah, no, this is interesting.
You know, last time we were on a show like, oh no, Raj didn't get ditched. He just there was a 50-50 shot, and somebody chose Herb the winner over Raj. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So long ago.
Random thought that came to mind.
I think I would. I mean, I feel like we don't really see too much of Jalen or Josh Allen's personality. I think I would end up living with Jalen. I don't know. I think he might be slightly more fun to live with. But I don't think either one would be fun to live. Like that. I think about all the years we've had, like the personality of Jalen Hurts back Alabama, Oklahoma here. The only thing I would say,
Cat is saying it like we love Jalen, but his interviews, he definitely comes off.
He just seems like he's all business. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
He does.
Carol disagrees, but
I don't. What do we get from Josh Allen as far as personality? Either we don't. Either
he's in a committed relationship too. I think they might be engaged. I think he's engaged now. So I mean,
with the other Cavender twin.
I mean, I'm not out here to party or anything. I mean, and that's a good thing because I don't need a bunch of people coming to my house at midnight. I got a job. Me and Patrick got a job to go finish one week. I think I'm just gonna say Jalen, because I just feel like he might be a little bit more fun to hang with. Have we heard music taste from either of them? I mean, do we know music taste from either person?
I don't know.
You know, sometimes like people.
Herb's looking it up right now. Our resident researcher is looking it up.
He enjoys artists like Anita Baker, Michael Sterling, Bobby Brown.
Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
That's what the AI tells me.
I can see some Miles Davis, some old Luther. Yeah.
Josh Allen. I like Anita Baker. I grew up with Anita Baker through moms.
Josh Allen seems like he could be maybe a little country, but then also like Lil Wayne or I don't know.
Josh Allen started out as a singer-songwriter and played with his band, the Whiskey Brothers Band in Austin, Texas.
Are we talking about the same Josh Allen?
Is about pouring whiskey or whiskey?
I could just see a little Anita Baker playing and Jalen sitting there with a cup of wine, swirling it, saying, "This is a good Bordeaux," or whatever wine people say. Like that just seems like him. Yeah. And I could definitely see Josh Allen over there rocking a guitar or whatever.
But he's engaged to Haley Steinfeld. You know who she is, correct?
Yeah, Hawkeye, female Hawkeye. Yep. You know, that's all I know, right? So
I didn't know any of that.
Wait, so who are we ditching? Who do we even get the answer? Who are we ditching?
I think by default, Josh Allen, right?
I think Josh Allen by default, but to be honest with you, both could get ditched. I'm fine living alone.
You really only wanted to go to. I've never seen anyone so excited about the work answer and like
Jalen Hurts seems like the best night is like a good night for him is like going out to like a nice steak restaurant and maybe having a drink. That's Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Hey man, it's 9:58. We got to be in by 10.
Yeah.
I know that's no fun.
Yeah,
because he puts me on a curfew.
Yeah.
But you know, the other thing too with the living with both of those two, because I try to think about this too. Okay, so we sit out here and we keep hearing AJ Brown, he's so sick of Jalen Hurts. But then I remember Diggs out here bumping shoulders with Allen. So it's like all the receivers get sick of us. I can't even say. That's why I said like Jaden Daniels seems fun, Mahomes seems fun, because everybody seems to. We never hear stories about guys being sick of him, but I've heard stories about the other two with people saying I don't want to be around this guy anymore. So
right.
I don't know.
That's just crazy to me, but that's fine. You and your duct tape and stuff at work with with Pat Mahomes would be just fine getting it done. So, all right, man. Tell everybody. First off, you know we always appreciate the Seiko Squad coming in here, man, and you lead it. So always a good time. Definitely, like Rod said, congrats to your team, man. Yep. What do you guys got coming up next? Where can we see you?
As usual, social Seiko Squad Pod 05. As many people know, we're big into college football, but we cover a little bit of everything. So John's our resident hockey expert. We'll start having more of that coming out. All of them are way bigger college basketball fans than me, so you'll have a lot of that. But I'm a really big NBA, so you'll start seeing more NBA content coming. Super Bowl Sunday, a rare day. The four of us are never in the same place on Super Bowl Sunday. Gonna have a few special drops and a few, maybe even a live at some point that we may do. I talked to Herb and Rodg. They may pop through. If other people are popping live, perfectly fine, because the four of us will be together for once. So that's probably the next big project. And then we're big on drafts, so we'll have a big draft show and all that sort of thing too.
Your lives are some of the best. I think that's when I really started to like y'all show. I think this NBA draft live. And it wasn't even just about the NBA draft, because I didn't know any of those people were getting drafted, but it was just
I didn't even interacting with you guys. I couldn't tell you a handful of those guys. And I don't even know what they're doing right now, if they're putting up any numbers. I couldn't tell you.
Yep, that was a fun time. Man, appreciate it. Congrats to your team. We hope you don't repeat.
And one more, too. And do not forget, yes, Mike, will you make an appearance? Yes, because the Run-In Wrestling Podcast. Make sure y'all tune in. I think, was it the 30th or is it 31st? The 30th or 31st?
I think he said 30th.
30th.
The 30th. Mike will be there. The energy on the timeline has been hilarious watching the lead up for this Royal Rumble. I'm looking forward to this Royal Rumble. I'm going to sit back, pour me a glass of wine with Jalen Hurts, and we're going to watch that. Looking forward to the 30th.
I hope this doesn't go past 10 o'clock.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is like, this is an entertaining match right here. Don't you think that, Trey?
Yes.
You think he laughs like Kawhi Leonard?
We're going to give you an analysis of Roman Reigns. Jalen Hurts is a big Tribal Chief fan, if y'all didn't know. Just putting that out there now. I don't know that for real. Shut up. Let me not put that out there. But yeah, that's something else to look forward to. So make sure y'all tune in for that too.
Yeah. Mike, you got 2 seconds to answer that one. What time is that? 8 p.m. Central. There you go. On the 30th. Okay. So I'm looking forward to that too, Mike. That's going to be fun. So
yes.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you to y'all for keeping the chat going. Comments always help make the show. We appreciate it.
Y'all.
Appreciate Raj for being the best brother ever, man. So thank you. And Trey for being the best.
That's it? You're just going to say that in all seriousness and no joke afterwards?
No joke, bro. I love you, man. You're one of the best people I know, and a great father, and a great dad, a great husband, and a great brother, man. You're just great to the family. I appreciate you. Love you, man. All right, everybody. Y'all have a great night. We will see y'all next week. Yes, definitely check out Mike at 8 p.m. Central every Thursday, but definitely next week as well for his Royal Rumble. So everyone have a great night. We'll catch up with y'all later, and roll Tide. But we'll let Trey have the last word.
Go ahead and say it.
My guy, Baby Zeke, he's still here with me. Baby Travion hit us just coming soon.
Oh my gosh.